Welcome to Alvarez and Marcel.
Thank you, it's so nice to be here.
And congratulations on winning the Emerging Director of the Year award. A truly remarkable achievement. Your journey from Redfern to child protection work to energy resources of Australia, then to the boardroom of NIB is just truly remarkable. How did that shape you as a director?
Yeah, it was an incredible journey, and it so far is an incredible journey. I mean, I've had to reinvent my career 4 times. Every career reinvention was daunting but exciting because you get to learn about something new, or you get to learn about kind of a new area. And I mean, if you would have said to me growing up in Redfern that one day I would have ever got to lead an ASX company, let alone be on the board of an ASX top 100 company, and then to win an Emerging Director Award, I don't think you could have convinced me of that.
Truly inspiring indeed. What separates the truly amazing directors from merely competent ones? I mean, your award is a recognition for your distinctive leadership.
I think what separates an exceptional director is an unwavering curiosity and the ability to really think and condense down into very simple terms what the company's trying to achieve. And so you've got to be able to rationalize the complexity. You've got to be able to kind of understand what's growing the company's value, where's your balance sheet strength, and if you can do that in really kind of retail terms, then you can explain it to everybody. And so I think that's the real skill of directorship.
What separates an effective executive from an effective board member, and how have you gone through that transition?
I think the board has a very different role than the executive management team, and we expect the executive management team to be really into the mission or into the kind of organisational goals, and the board's job is to look at the horizon and kind of understand the landscape and kind of keep the management team aligned to the broader shareholder goals. So the transition wasn't too difficult. I mean, you have to respect a person's right to do their role, and the CEO and managing director wants the right to run the team, and they should have the right to run the team. So for me, kind of, freshly coming from a CEO role, one that I'm doing now but part-time, I can understand the need to be able to have authority to run the team, and the board's role is to support that, not to kind of get in the middle of how you do that. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's a question for others, but I feel like that transition was a little easier because it was so close, the CEO role and the board role.
Let me maybe come back to just that transition a little bit, and I wanted to ask you, in your transition from CEO to board member, what were the things that you had to unlearn and the things you had to learn now? I know that you are still part-time CEO of ERA, but still, what were the things that you kind of had to let go?
I think the things I had to unlearn, or the things I had to respect the management team's rights, is a CEO needs the right and the authority to run the organisation. And I needed the right to run the organisation as CEO, and I respect that the NIB CEO needs that right as well. So remembering that you're not on the pitch, you're the coach of the team, and if the coach of the team runs onto the pitch, you're in real trouble. So really kind of understanding your role is to support the management team, to talk to shareholders, and to kind of keep your eyes on that horizon while the management team's really focused on execution.
I think you've always expressed yourself as a corporate leader who is Indigenous rather than an Indigenous leader. And I think that's the idea of combining corporate leadership and excellence with cultural leadership. And yet in boardrooms, we don't see enough of that. What do you think needs to change systemically in Australian corporate world to make this happen?
For me, our people have had 65,000 years of managing the original balance sheet of Australia. And that balance sheet went through a lot of challenges, 2 ice ages, a 1,000-year-long drought. And so balance sheet management should be home turf for us, and so I describe many corporate values as very, very close to Indigenous values. When you join an organisation, you want it to be in better shape than when you left, which is no different to caring for the land and the country for the time that you're here and when you go and join the ancestors. So for me, we really need to find home territory in balance sheet management in a modern world. I think the corporate sector can play a phenomenal role at raising the ceiling, and closing the gap is critically important for government and for communities. You know, the corporate sector has the ability to raise the ceiling. We have the ability. We never put a cap on our ambitions for growth. You know, why would we put a cap on indigeneity in our organisations? Why would we kind of think about it any different? Just bring our own values to the game. So I'd love to see, you know, corporates become a lot more curious about why there's not indigeneity being practiced on their balance sheet, and why they're kind of only really practicing it in NAIDOC week.